David, bless this beat.
What's going on? Hope you are well. My name's David the Crook and welcome to today's video of Mixing Monday. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be mixing UK drill vocals using a mixture of Logic Pro X plugins as well as Wave plugins. But before we get into the video, I want to remind you to subscribe and drop a like. I'm going to play the intro as well as part of the verse so we get a feel of the song. The version of the song that I'm going to be playing is the mixed version, and then I'm going to play the raw version.
Smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I'm out here for the voila. Man, I grab it, my shit. Smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I'm out here for the voila. Man, I'm out here for the bread. Man, I'm out here for that moolah. Man, I grab him, my shit. Smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stats go back. Niggas know how we step. Man, I'm out here for that voila. Man, I'm out here for that bread. Man, I'm out here for that moolah. Yeah, but K did this, K did that, K this way, K don't get paid. If you can say on Snap, say it his face. Never see me run from up. Only time gonna see me run, I'm running from feds.
Alright, that's the beginning and part of the intro. That is the mixed version of the song. Now I'm going to play the raw version of the song. There's not going to be anything on the plugins. Everything is just leveled. That's about it.
Tap that, free step go back. Niggas know how to step. Man, I'm out here for that voila. Man, I'm out here for that bread. Man, I'm out here for that moolah. Yeah, but K did this, K did that, K this way, K don't get paid. If you can say on Snap, say it his face. Never see me run from up. Only time gonna see me run, I'm running from feds. I'm running from feds. I see better man push the gun. Niggas know what we.
The only thing I've really done to the vocals in general is just cut out some breaths, fade some stuff, and pan stuff left and right, like the dubs and the ad-libs. I have those panned to the left and to the right. Other than that, we're gonna get into the mixing of the vocals. The first thing I always do when it comes to mixing vocals is I always use the same plugins, just because those are like my stable go-to mixing vocal plugins. If you've seen any of my other videos, you will know that I always use these first three plugins on every vocal. The first one being Outlaw by WA Productions. If you don't have this plugin, you can use a plugin like Waves Vocal Writer. What this does, it automates the vocals and it just kind of helps level everything out, kind of keep everything consistent throughout the whole song. So if I were to play it, so for example, when he says that, instead of the vocals just falling out, what this does, it kind of automates that, and at the end it just kind of brings it up, keeps the levels of the vocals consistent. I just have the mix at 50% because if I were to put it at 100, it sounds a little bit too robotic. From here, what I'm gonna do is I am gonna use VOCALS by Waves. This is probably one of my favorite plugins to use on vocals, just because of the way it makes the vocal sound. It just brings everything right up to the front.
Smoke niggas have done that. Bad beam and I tap that. Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I'm out here for the voila. Man, I'm out here for the bread. Man, I'm out here for the moolah. Man, I'm grabbing my shit. Smoke niggas have done that. Bad beam and I tap that. Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, my shit. Smoke niggas have done that. Bad beam and I tap that. Free stats go bad.
So I really like it how it just brings out the overall volume of the vocals. It doesn't add any color to the vocals, so it just helps keep the rawness within the vocals. From here, what I'm going to be doing, and the last stable plugin that I always use, is de-esser from Waves. I really like this de-esser. It gets the job done, especially with these UK vocals and these types of vocals that have a lot of sibilances and a lot of S's that just punch through. You really want to tame those.
out here for the guala. Man, out here for the bread. Man, out here for the mullah. Man, grab him. Mashy. Smoke niggas have.
So I have a little bit of de-essing going on. I really like using this S chain and really sweeping the frequencies to find that S. Depending on the mic and depending on the tone of voice from the artist, it's kind of just going to depend on where it is. Usually you could find it around the 7K, but other than that, it's all subjective to the person's voice and the mic being used.
Mashy, smoke niggas have done that. Tap that, free stuff go.
And then from here, now that I have the vocals automated, I have a little bit of compression. I have the de-esser on, taming the S's as well as other frequencies that are just harsh to the people's ear. What I'm going to be doing is I am going to be using a EQ. I'm going to be using a stock Logic Pro X EQ just because I'm going to be focused on using stock plugins to mix the vocals. I'm going to be using a little bit of wave plugins, but the majority of the mixing will be done with stock Logic Pro X plugins. I'm going to be using just a regular channel EQ, and with this EQ what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using this EQ to shape the vocals, kind of get the vocals how I want them to sound, so by cutting out some low frequencies as well as boosting and cutting some more frequencies.
Mashy, smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the mullah. Man, I grab him. Mashy, smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stuff go back. Niggas know how to step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the mullah. Yeah, I'm a KD this, KD that, KD's what, K don't get paid. If you can say on snap, say it to his face. Never see me run for up. One time when I see me run, I'm running from feds. I said I'm running from feds. I see better man push to the groom. Niggas know what we do. Man, I get man down for broom. Niggas know we're winning. They can never step in my circle. Calm down, got no visa. Bad B, share Keisha. I said bad B, share Keisha. Man, I out here for dough. Man, I out here for dough. Man, I do roll. Man, I do roll. Man, I do roll with a bros. Man, I do roll. Man, I do roll. Man, I do roll with a bros. Man, I do roll with a bros.
Baby.
Man, grab it, mash it. Smoke niggas have done that. Bad B, man, I tap that. Free stats go back. Niggas know how to step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the mullah. Man, I grab it, mash it. Smoke niggas have done that. Bad B, man, I tap that. Free stats go back. Niggas know how to step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the mullah. Man, I fly out to these zombies. Man, I share if you dodgy. Big rumps on my side. Man, do rock with my thing. Man, do rock with the bros. Tryna act like you wanna get bossed. Tryna act like you wanna get bossed. Man, I grab it, mashy. Smoke niggas have done that. Bad B, man, I tap that. Free stats go back. Niggas know how to step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for that mullah. Man, I grab it, mashy. Smoke niggas have done that. Bad B, man, I tap that. Free stats go back. Niggas know how to step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the mullah.
So what I did with the EQ is I cut out some lows, cut out about 123. From here, what I did is I cut out some of those lower mids. I cut around 510. Usually the boxiness could be found between 3 to 500. And then as well as I cut some frequencies that just sound a little bit too bad. The way I look for these is if I were to sweep through it and then it just really spikes up at a certain frequencies, that's what I know that frequency should be cut a little bit. And then I did a little boost on the high end. From here, what I'll be doing is I'm gonna be using another EQ. The EQ I'm gonna be using is the vintage 2BQ. Now with this EQ, what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to emphasize certain frequencies. So the other EQ, I used it to shape and mold the vocals. With this one, I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be emphasizing certain frequencies.
Mashy, smoke niggas have done that. Bad B, man, I tap that. Free stuff go back. Niggas know how to step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the mullah. Man, I grab him, mashy. Smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stuff go back. Niggas know how to step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the mullah. Yeah, I'm a KD this, KD that, KD's what, K don't get paid. If you can say on snap, say it to his face. Never see me run from up. Only time gonna see me run, I'm running from feds. As I'm running from feds. As a bear man push to the goon. Niggas know what we do. Man, I kept man down for broom. Niggas know we're winning. They can never step in my circle. Calm down, got no visa. Bad B shit, my shit. Smoke niggas have done that. Bad B man, I tap that. Free stuff go bad. Niggas know how it's.
Alright, with this 2BQ, what I did is I boost up 100 hertz at 2.6 dB. It's kind of contradiction. There's a little bit of contradiction because I did cut out 123, but with the boost that I'm doing is just beefing up that low end just a little bit to add a little bit more body, a little bit more low end to the overall vocals. And then I did a boost at 14K just to take out a little bit more of those highs. That I have the vocals EQ'd and shaped how I want it, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be running it into another compressor. I'm going to be using the stock Logic Pro X compressors just because I really like how these compressors work. The compressors are really good. They're amazing. They replicate vintage compressors really good. So for the first one I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using this Studio FET. What this does, it kind of replicates a very popular compressor that is used in a lot of modern rap songs.
My shit, smoke niggas have done that. Bad B man, I tap that. Free stuff go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the moolah. Man, I grab him. My shit, smoke niggas have done that. Bad B man, I tap that. Free stuff go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the moolah. Yeah. But K did this, K did that, K this wet, K don't get paid. If you can say on Snap, say it his face. Never see me run from up. Only time gonna see me run, I'm running from feds. As I'm running from feds. As a bear man push to the goon. Niggas know what we do. Man, I kept man down for broom. Niggas know we're winning.
Alright, with this compressor, what I did is I did about 4:1 ratio. Add no makeup gain. Threshold is about 19. I did a fast release and a semi-fast attack. If you don't really want to mess with the whole attack and the release knob, you can always just put it on auto. I do this all the time too. Works just as good.
My shit, smoke niggas have done that. Bad B man, I tap that. Free stuff go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the moolah. Man, I grab him.
And then I also turned the distortion on soft. I really like using this soft distortion on vocals. It just brings it out a lot, makes it cut through the mix really good, and then you don't really have to bring up this makeup gain. Now that I have that compressor on it, I'm gonna be running one more EQ.
My shit, smoke niggas have done that. Bad B man, I tap that. Free stuff go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the moolah. Man, I grab him. My shit, smoke niggas have done that. Bad B man, I tap that. Free stuff go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the moolah. Yeah, but K did this, K did that, K this wet, K don't get paid. If you can say on Snap, say it his face. Never see me run for up. Only time gonna see me run, I'm running from feds. As I'm running from feds. As a bear man push to the goon. Niggas know what we do. Man, I kept man down for broom. Niggas know we're winning. They can never step in my circle. Calm down, got no visa. Bad B share Keisha. I said bad B share Keisha. Man, I out here for dough. Man, I out here for dough. Man, I do vote. Man, I do vote. Man, I do vote with the bros. Man, I do vote. Man, I do vote. Man, I do vote with the bros. Man, I do vote with the bros. Man, I grab it. My shit. Smoke niggas have done that.
Alright, the EQ that I ended up using is the vintage graphic EQ. I think I liked it a little bit more than the console EQ. I like this one a little bit more just because I was able to choose what frequencies I really want to boost. So I boosted the 16K. I brought down a little bit of the 8K, just 0.2. Brought up some 4K and then brought down a little bit of the 500. Cool thing about this vintage 2BQ is that you could tune it. So for example, if you want to go higher than 16K, you could always just tune it up as much as you want. I think the highest you go is 32K. Then it kind of just switches out all these numbers. It's pretty cool. From here, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be running it into one more compressor. This compressor that I'm going to be using is the vintage OPT.
Shit, smoke niggas have done that. Bad B man, I tap that. Free stuff go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I'm out here for the guala. Man, I'm out here for the bread. Man, I'm out here for that moolah. Man, I grab him, mashy. Smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stuff go back. Niggas know how we step. Man, I'm out here for that guala. Man, I'm out here for that bread. Man, I'm out here for that moolah. Yeah, but K did this, K did that, K this way, K don't get paid. If you can say on Snap, say it.
Alright, I really like how this vintage OPTO compressor sounds. Now that I have this last compressor on it, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding another de-esser just because the S's are really coming out again. And for that second de-esser, I'm going to be using Sibilance by Waves. I really like this de-esser because not only does it take out the S's, but it also takes out other harsh frequencies that are hurtful to the listener's ear.
Mashy, smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I'm out here for the guala. Man, I'm out here.
So those are the frequencies that are being de-essed. You could really hear them. A lot of those S's. And like the F's, the T's.
K did that, K this way, K don't get paid. If you can say on Snap, say it his face. Never see me run for up.
Now that I have that last de-esser, I'm going to be using some auto-tune just because with these UK vocals, they do use a lot of auto-tune. They use a lot of auto-tune. Now, I could be using just the regular stock pitch correction by Logic Pro X. That one works amazing. But I'm going to be using Waves Real Time. The key of the song is in B flat minor, so I just B flat minor, and then depending on the artist and depending on how much auto-tune you want to add, that is all subjective to you. For this artist, I'm going to be adding a good amount of auto-tune.
Mashy, smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stuff go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I'm out here for the guala. Man, I'm out here for the bread. Man, I'm out here for that moolah. Man, I grab him, mashy. Smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stuff go back. Niggas know how we step. Man, I'm out here for the guala. Man, I'm out here for the bread. Man, I'm out here for that moolah. Yeah, but K did this, K did that, K this way, K don't get paid. If you can say on Snap, say it his face. Never see me run for up.
Now, that's one way of doing it, is just putting the speed and the note transition fast as much as you can, and then just messing with the mix knob, which is this correction knob here. Or you could put the correction knob all the way and then mix with the note transition and the speed. It all depends. I use both methods. It just honestly depends on the song. I really like how it sounded when I had it at 80% and fast all the way, but I'm also going to try it with the note transition and the speed.
Mashy, smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stuff go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I'm out here for the guala. Man, I'm out here for the bread. Man, I'm out here for that moolah. Man, I grab him, mashy. Smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stuff go back. Niggas know how we step. Man, I'm out here for the guala. Man, I'm out here for the bread. Man, I'm out here for that moolah. Yeah. But K did this, K did that, K this way, K don't get paid. If you can say on Snap, say it.
I like this one a little bit better just because it still has that natural voice to it, and then a little bit of the auto-tune that's like mixed within the vocals. So I think I might just end up going with this one instead of the first way I did it. So now that I have the auto-tune on it, what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be making the vocals a little bit wider. And to do that, the easiest way is to use Waves S1 Imager. If you don't have Waves S1 Imager, you can always use like any widening plugin within Logic Pro X. The one I use is an Imaging Studio Spread. That one works just as good as S1 Imager.
Mashy, smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stuff go bad.
And then I just brought the width at about 1.11. Nothing too crazy. If you push it too much, sometimes you could lose the body of the vocals, so you just want to push it just a little bit, just so it could widen up the vocals, and overall it could just sound, it could make the vocals sound a little bit fuller. So overall, this is just the vocal chain I'm going to be using Logic Pro X plugins as well as Wave plugins. From here, what the next plugins I'm going to be using are going to be plugins that I bus onto the vocals. So for example, like some saturation, distortion, whatever you choose to use. For this song, I'm going to be using Soft Tube Saturation Knob. Now this plugin is free, so if you want to look it up, just Google Soft Tube Saturation Knob. I wouldn't recommend looking up soft tubes because it might take you to some different types of websites, if you know what I mean. So just make sure you look up Soft Tube Saturation Knob.
My shit, smoke niggas have done that. Bad beam and I tap that. Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the moolah. Man, I grab him. My shit, smoke niggas have done that.
And then to the saturation knob, I also added the S1 imager just to widen up that saturation that's being added onto the vocals.
My shit, smoke niggas have done that. Bad beam and I tap that. Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I out.
So that's the saturation that's being added onto the vocals. I really like the saturation knob because it adds like a little bit of grittiness, a little bit of distortion. It just adds like this really nice color onto the vocals. It just kind of dirties it up so it's not so clean, especially with these UK drill vocals. You want to go for something clean, but I really like adding a little bit of grit to it, a little bit of dirtiness onto the vocals. I just feel like it makes it stand out a little bit more.
My shit, smoke niggas have done that. Bad beam and I tap that. Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the moolah. Man, I grab him. My shit, smoke niggas have done bad. Yeah, free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the moolah. Yeah. But K did this, K did that, K this way.
Then from here, what I'm going to be doing is adding some delay. My go-to delay is H delay by Waves. I have it ping pong. I have the MS. I did the calculations. This is about 1/8. Is at 205. The reason I had to put it on MS and not on host is because when they recorded the song, they sent over the whole template, which is perfectly fine. But the way they recorded it is they didn't record it in the BPM of the song. So I think the BPM of the song is at,
man, I grab him, my shit, smoke niggas have done that. Bad beam, man, I tap that. Free stats go back.
It's like at 146. So they recorded it at 120. So everything's a little bit off time, so that if I were to put it on host, the whole delay would be thrown off. So you just gotta do some calculations and then you can figure it out in MS. I cut out some of the lows at about 200 and then cut out some highs at about 5K. Turn the analog on off because you do not want this analog on. It will ruin your whole song. I delayed it. This is how the delay sounds.
Niggas know how we step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the moolah. Yeah, but K did this, K did that, K this way, K don't get paid. If you can.
This delay sounds really good. Depending on how you want it to sound was depending on how much of this low pass you're going to add onto it. But I took it a little step further and I added a side chain to the delay, so it kind of just compresses the delay and then it'll pop out more in these little pauses and these breaks where there's not much going on.
Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I out my shit, smoke niggas have done that. Bad beam, man, I tap that. Free stats go bad. Niggas.
So if you were to hear it, the delay is really being compressed, but then these little pauses here, that's when the delay just really punches through the mix.
Smoke niggas have done that. Bad beam and I tap that. Free stats go bad.
So I don't know what he said. Something go bam, and when he said bomb, it like just popped out right here.
Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for the moolah.
So when he says it, I'm out here for the bread, when the out here is that's being compressed, you're not really gonna hear that. But when he says bread and then there's like a little pause, you just hear the compressor just let off and then the bread comes out in the delay. It just sounds really clean.
Man, out here for the guala. Man, out here for the bread. Man, out.
So the guala, the bread, those little words that not little words that he says, but those words that he says, those are the words that are just gonna pop out through the mix, and then you just blend it into the mix. And then I added an EQ just to cut out some of the lows, a little bit more of the highs, and then boost up these the high mids just to take out that delay just a little bit more.
Oh yeah, for that moolah, man, I grab him, mashy, smoke niggas that's done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that, free stats go back. Niggas know how to step, man, I out here for that guala, man, I out here for that bread, man, I out here for that moolah. Yeah, but KD this, KD that, KD's wet, K don't get paid. If you can say.
So you can really hear right there when he says KD, he gets paid.
Don't get paid.
When he says paid, and then the little beat pauses, and it just comes out. It sounds really clean. I really like delays. It just adds a lot to the song. From here, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be adding some reverb. The reverb I'm using is Manny M Reverb. I picked up this reverb like a couple months ago, and ever since I've gotten it, I haven't stopped using it. It just works for everything. You got your halls, you got your plates, you got your room, space, chamber, ambience. You got everything. You got small, medium, large. You'll find what you need in this plugin.
Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for that moolah. Man, I grab him, mashy, smoke niggas that's done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step.
This reverb, this room, large, worked so good for this song. It just blended into the beat so good. It kind of lowered it, put it more in the background if you add a lot to it, but overall this reverb sounds so good for this song.
Smoke niggas after.
Especially with these UK vocals, you want to add something that fits, but at the same time they do use a good amount of reverb, especially on the tail end, adding that reverb that just carries the vocals in those pauses. So this reverb worked perfect for the song.
Smoke niggas have done that.
And then I added an EQ to it, cut out some of those lows, cut out some of those low mids, boosted a little bit more of those high ends, as well as cut out some highs. I just want this frequencies here of the vocals to carry the reverb. I don't really want the low end because it'll wash out the vocals. I don't want the high end just because sometimes the high end of a reverb just doesn't really sound that good. I just really want the mids of the vocal to carry the reverb, and then I added this MV2 to take out more of that reverb in certain frequencies of the reverb.
Smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for that moolah. Man, I grab him, mashy. Smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stats. Man, I grab it, mashy. Smoke niggas have done that.
Reverb, overall, this one is amazing. And like I said, with these UK drill vocals, the second reverb, because I'm going to be using two reverbs, the second reverb is going to be that reverb that creates that big open space that's going to carry the vocals. That is going to be the reverb you notice more. The first one is just to blend in the vocals to the beat. The second one is just going to be more to emphasize the reverb, add certain elements, certain vibe to the vocals. The reverb I'm be using is Reverb Plate 140. I think this is by Arteria. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not the best reader, but I'm adding a little bit of drive, some model, classic EMT. The decay time, I have it at 3, blend all the way, width all the way.
Smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out here for the bread. Man, I out here for that moolah. Man, I grab him, mashy. Smoke niggas have done that. Bad beat, man, I tap that. Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we.
And then to find the decay time, I usually look for a pause here.
Free stats go bad. Niggas know how.
And then I want the reverb to die down before the vocals come back in. So usually every song's gonna be different. Sometimes I go high, 5, 4. Sometimes it's low, like this one's at 3. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just finding that decay time that fits into the pocket of the song.
Free stats go bad. Niggas know how we step. Man, I out here for the guala. Man, I out.
And then I did the same thing. Added some EQ, cut out the low, cut out some high, boosted a little bit more of the lower, mids instead of the higher mids. And the first reverb, I think I boosted around the 1 to 2 to 3K. This one I'm boosting the 1K to the 400, just because I don't want those reverbs to clash and just to create muddiness within the vocals. So I kind of just try to boost one frequency for one reverb, boost another frequency for another one, but sometimes you kind of just boost the same frequency. It just kind of depends on the song, depending on the reverbs you're using. And then I added this plugin, the RAXX, onto the reverb just to take out more of that reverb.
Out here for the bread, man, out here for the moolah, man, grab it, mashing, smoke niggas have done that, but beat man, tap that, free stats go back, niggas know how to step, man, out here for the baller, man, out here for the bread, man, out here for the moolah, yeah, but K did this, K did that, K this way, K don't get paid, if you can say on snap.
So I really like it. If I push it, it just really brings out that vocals, but overall, the reverbs just sound amazing. That's how you mix the main vocals of the song. If you want me to show you how to mix the dubs and the ad-libs, drop a comment down below and I'll show you how to do that, how to add it onto the vocals, add some ear candy so you could keep the listener hearing the song from the beginning to the end, add certain surprises that would just intrigue the listener more. Now, if you want me to mix and master one of your songs, feel free to hit me up on Instagram or on my email. Everything will be down below in the description. Shoot me a message, just tell me mixing services, and I'll respond to you ASAP. If you're looking to go more in depth when it comes to recording, mixing, and mastering, feel free to hit me up. I am working on a course that I'm going to be dropping soon, but I want to get your opinion and I want to see what your problems and what you're struggling with the most, so I can make sure I cover that when it comes to the course. The course I am working on, starting off with how to set up your home studio, how to set up your equipment, how to set up your mic recording, get the most out of your computer when it comes to mixing and mastering, differences between EQs, compressors, everything you need to know when it comes to mixing and mastering songs. I will be including that into the course, as well as releasing the music, promotion, and the business side of owning a home studio, recording, and everything you need to know with that. If you want more information on that, follow me on Instagram, shoot me a message telling me course, and I'll give you more details on that. I want to remind you to subscribe and drop a like, as well as a comment. My name's David the Crook, and I hope to see you in the next video of Mixing Monday. Peace.
Yeah, but K did this, K did that, K this way, K don't get paid.